Hi, welcome to the Talent to Learning demonstration series, where we get to look in depth at some of the world's best extended enterprise LMS and learning system solutions. Today, we're going to take a look at the Eurekos Customer Education LMS. Nick, take it away.
Let's see. So let's get in and share my screen here.
All right. We're going to start a
Okay,
demonstration of the Eurekos system.
so thank you. What I will do here now is that I'm going to take you through some of the standard roles that people will be able to use in the system. We have 9 standard roles, and we can create as many as we want. But before we get there, I just want to, and I would just like to give a quick overview of what it is that we can do here. I'm now a platform admin. You can see that something is going on my screen right now, like a video is playing up here. This is because I'm creating content. So I'm actually in the middle of creating some content, and I can access this. I also have some general analytics, like really high level at a glance. So if I want to see how these, users, new users, registered users, and participants, how they're faring, I can go and have a look at that. If I'm using my commerce solution and I have a campaign running at the moment, and I want to find out, how are we how are we doing? This is, of course, my internal platform. So there's no secret data in here, anything that has been built up. But then, I could follow out the campaigns, and if I'm successful in a given period of time where I'm trying to launch new training and offerings. And we also have general analytics such as these, like the active users that are currently on the platform, in any given month or quarter or period. And I also have different types of logins, as you can see. So we actually offer one of the things that Anders was talking about before. We offer different ways for people to access the platform. This goes very deep. This is to go across all those use cases that we have. So a QR code for us is not just a QR code as you're used to. Yes, it could be, so that it's something that you're putting on a product somewhere, on a packaging or anything else, and I will be able to retrieve this. But we can do it without login. So for example, if you are running a campaign or you want to do something on social media that do not require a login, then you would be able to use these QR codes to access some of that content. It could also be connected to specific connections with specific resellers, for example, that you are working with. So, it can be connected to something called, for example, a federation with SSO and other examples that could lead you straight into a specific organization, or it could lead you straight into a specific training. So depending on what you're getting access to, lots of stuff in here. And this is the key thing because it's all about structure. So before I jump into all the, fancy images and all of this, let's look at those organizations. So what I did here is that we created one for you. So in order not to show any client confidential data, we have created a talented learning organization. And in this case, you can see that there are 4 active members. This would be like a participant, an instructor, and so on, and we can dive into that. But you can create as many as these as you like. You can also integrate them from other systems and create them automatically from CRM systems and other, glorious systems for this kind of thing. And you can also import, because you are in different phases typically of implementation where you need different solutions for this. So we can do all of this. Now, what I will do now is I'll just go in and edit this one. So for example, a lot of our clients, they have some sort of need to either provide a limitation. Let's say that I've got a bigger client. It could be a public sector client. It could be, a bigger corporation. And I've made an agreement with you that you can register 500 people. So, and you might have paid for these 500, but we don't know who they are at this point. Maybe you say that these 500 people, because you have already paid, then everything is free for you. So this is an easy way to overrule all that complex commerce stuff that you typically need to manage, on a very granular level. So one of the other reasons that people choose Eurekos is we are not forgetting the admin interface or the way that you need to to work with all of this. This complexity in extended enterprise can get out of hand really, really quickly, and especially when you start to develop, over years. So you have to be, really, really, careful about the way that you implement all these different modalities so that they work on top of each other. Maybe I have this agreement that run until a certain time. So, until that date, and then, the prices drop back. Also, we have clients that don't want competitors. Sometimes you're even doing it for free. So there's no discounts, there's none of this. But, I have a need to, and I have made an agreement. So we have some a semiconductor company, for example, in the US, who would like that everybody from company X and so on, they will be able to sign up themselves. Yeah, everybody go. So this is kind of a whitelist, but and we automatically put them into this organization when they have this email and they sign up from outside. So it's an elegant solution to a super complex problem, because you don't want to expose who your clients are, who you're working with, or who you have approved, and so on. Super easy. Now, all of these organizations, you can also set up the appearance. I will show you this in a minute when we adapt to you. I will also be able to go in and, put more granularity on this in the system, but still easy to do. And you can also add a top banner if you are interested in having, on your dashboard, and you want to streamline this to a visual identity that you want to provide across different partners and resellers that you have. And also the granularity that you need sometimes is, well, you know what? They are managing their own first level support. This is the support email that follows this, cool. Or, that sort of thing. So granularity upon, these things can be managed in one place, including subscriptions. So we have a simple subscription method in here. So I could choose this organization has a specific subscription set on it, monthly, annual, with a card, and then you get access to all of these trainings, when you get this and you pay for that, for example. So an easy way to set up a subscription too. And of course, you can have custom URLs. These are not new domains as such, but that would be my company X. Sorry. And then I would have, of course, your own domain, the client's own domain in here, but they would be able to create specific URLs that they can share that will land people even before signing up, on a page where they can have their own catalog that could be isolated to themselves. So each organization can also, even when you log in, have your own logo, SSO connections, and other things that only you will be able to access. And this is actually a pretty easy way to achieve something that is very complex that you can set up here. Now, if I am that person here for a moment, so if I go back to my dashboard I would be in here, and then I will be the talented learning participant 1. So I'll be a regular user that logs into the platform one way or another. So in this case, I would have something on extended enterprise learning, and I would have something that this is something I'm in progress on at this point. We'll get back to this one in a minute. So this is my latest one. I would also have potentially a deadline for something that's mandatory, and all these kind of things that you would expect to be there. They're of course here too. They're also relevant for extended enterprise learning, not just internally, but also externally. I would like to make sure that the distributors who are working for me or the mechanics or whatever, they need to be certified 30 days after, that I've launched a new product. Otherwise I'm going to have my, whatever follow up on them. So I need to have these types of things too. Now, and of course we have certificates as well. So you can create them within the platform. You can verify them from within the platform. They can check that they're valid and so on from outside. Anybody can, using, for example, a QR code. Now, but what I really want to do here, just a minute. So we also have communities. So that might be it. This might be my whole, experience that I have my trainings of any kind of hybrid training. But I might also have communities which we will dive into. So subject matter experts, product topics, anything that you want to set up around this. And there might be other things that I can, other offerings that you have that I don't get automatically, that I have not been assigned to. So this is the internal catalog. And here we've created for you 4 examples. So let's say that I was more interested in using, let's imagine I had a course about content creation. Well, then, I can read about this. You might include videos. In this case, of course, it's YouTube, but I will get back to that. We have our internal integrated service as well. And I can register myself. I can pay. I can use coupons. I can, use virtual credits. There are a multitude of different ways to get access to this content, which again could be overruled by specific requirements. We can even, because this is something that some clients do, especially if you have a large, a broad range of pricing, you might say that this one can be paid by credit card, the next one can't. This one, you have to request an invoice. So even on training level, you can control these types of things. But if I go back here to my overview, and let's say that I want to go into this one. So I don't want to, resume where I left off. So I'm basically getting into a course that has been built using the native, authoring interface, which I will show you. So just 3 pages with your content. So yeah, I could have, a streaming video that I have uploaded. This runs globally across Amazon CloudFront. So we've integrated this. It transcodes the video into different bit rates, and it detects the audio, the bandwidth too against the user and plays the most appropriate quality. And of course, you can create text areas. We have some tools for you to allow downloads from specific folders. This is an automatic list. It updates automatically from a folder, like you have when you open a SharePoint up or anything else that people will actually know. And of course, you could also create little tests and quizzes, within the platform, or bigger sets of quizzes with pools that you can use either to unlock or just to test your knowledge inside if you want to make any comprehension checks. But these items are not just videos and so on. We have more than 40 different types of tools that you could put in and create experiences around without actually using a PowerPoint. So this is all created within a browser, for example, in this case. So I could also build in checks and other things based on the content, in this case, you, John, and we would be able to, progress along. As you can see over here, we start to progress because I'm a participant. I can also see what I need to do to finish something at any point. In this case, it's inside a course. It could also be in an entire learning path that consists of multiple different elements. Now, this example here, we have turned it around. So this is an integrated tool too, where we took one of the videos that you have, and in this case, we built in some interactivity on it. It's super easy to do, again, within the platform. Stop it, or maybe at some point, you want to check and you want to have this comprehension check. So here we have, an example of I need to get this right before I would be able to continue. So, and now I could continue this part. Of course, I can turn off the scrubbing down here to support this kind of thing. There are other types and ways to create engaging content. And you can also include our teams, the communities. So in this case, you can see we have embedded a discussion, which is in fact, a connection to an entire team of discussions, tasks, file sharing, and other things that you can do inside. And if I try to open this one up, then I can actually have this discussion right here. I don't need to go somewhere else because this is all about user experience, that you want to support in here. And you can also include videos and other parts that, people, and you can decide who can upload and, make part of the whole experience. When I'm done, I will obviously close and save my progress, and I'm back, at the dashboard. And if it was a video that I had as my course thumbnail that will play to give you an engaging experience, there are various behaviors you can choose around how that shows up. And you can also, have your own login screens and other visual things around this. So let's try and look at something else before I leave this, just conceptually. I'll not go into that much depth here. So you see that I've got one that had a little number 2 on it. That's because this is a learning journey. So just the concept of this is, yes, you could have multiple trainings that could consist, that's a learning journey. But you can put these together inside of Eurekos and create a learning journey that is defined within one path. So I can combine different ways of doing this. This is in a self-paced course or some pre-material. Then obviously, once they have seen all of this, John, if this has been you, if this had been you, then you would want them to come on a call, and then they will bring their own requirements. And then you are going to give them advice about which LMS that they actually needed to go for. And so you will have a dialogue. So the second one will be some sort of virtual webinar. Now, you can combine any number of these and make restrictions between them, make a flow between them. We have, in some of the examples that Anders gave, with Sysmex, for example, this client that you saw here, in some regions of the world, they do exclusively, webinars. For example, they would have a rule that, you need to do 4 out of 8. Now you're certified in this product. Other regions, they do self-paced training. Some do both. So there's, you can combine this in any way that you want, and you can also put in assignments and other elements as part of these learning paths. That means you can design a hybrid, and it's easy to maintain and update. And this is also where adaptive learning comes into play. So some of these could be hidden until a certain thing happens. Or we could pop up certain elements and say, hey, you know what, I'm actually a trainer. I'm a specialist. That's all good. But yes, I would like to know more technical details. So we're going to ask about that. And then, you can pop up a 3D view. So we've created a 3D viewer as well, so that they can spin the products with annotations and other things inside. So that's some of the experience that you can get. Yeah. Now I'm going to switch back to be myself. So I can actually emulate being these different users. And so quickly, I'll be the talented learning instructor. So in this case, I'll be someone who's facilitating some sort of offering that we have. And yes, I could do my own training as well, of course, and I could participate in anything else that everybody else does. But what I want to do here is just to show you the analytics. So as an instructor, I need something really simple. I am responsible for these 2 types of trainings. I need my benchmark because I just need to know that before we have this meeting, John, with the group, that I can see that none of them have actually prepared. Now, this is something I can do something about, or at least I know before that training happens, or that webinar happens, or that conference starts, because I would know what to expect. But obviously, if it is in another scenario, I could go in and I could see and download reports really easily with visuals in here about what people actually answered. And I would also be able to go in and look at the details of specifics. So apart from the benchmark across my group of people, or cohorts, as it is also called, then I could go into the details. Now, I can see how many times that they did certain things, videos that they have watched more than 90%, a configurable attribute, by the way. People look at this differently. And I can also look at the spider diagrams of multiple elements in here and see how they're doing that with the questionnaires. This is almost like a skills matrix that you're actually looking at this point. And if I want to go in and see the details of what they answered, how many times, what happened in attempt 1, 2, 3, and 4, I will be able to look at this too. So we have special customized dashboards for specific roles to make it easy for them to manage. I'll show you one more example on this. And that would be that I will be a scenario that many would recognize, because we almost don't have any instance anymore of extended enterprise that do not want this. So not everybody are facilitating their training. But if I'm in some kind of a distributor scenario, then I would want to have organizations. The one that I just showed you could have had multiple sub-organizations. Yeah. This could also be departments. This could be my resellers. This could be regions, Europe, US, then, splitting it up, and I could have any kind of grouping. In this case, we just have you like in a separate organization. And I now put a manager role in here. So I will be able to see that I've got 4 people that I supervise. I want to see what participant 1 did. When they are certified, I also have filters to work with. So, I can filter them out by different properties. And these properties could expand depending on the profile information you have on users. So, if I have a sudden audit or anything else, or I need warnings that, certain people have not done something within a certain timeline, then I will get this as a manager and I have my overviews. I can download my reports and I can also do user management. So let's say that we have some trainings that are available. And let's say that this content creation is something that I think everybody should have. I'll read about it, or I have a new employee or a new salesperson starting. I'm now an outlet somewhere. I'm a distributor, and I need to have this person know something about this. Now, me as the main headquarter company, I wouldn't know that my distributors, hired a new person, yesterday, but the manager who works there does. So we need an easy interface for the managers to assign training to people. So I can go and look at these available for self-registration. That means something that is not supported by other automatic rules. And then I will say, let's give this to them. Pay, use my virtual credits again. That could be based on marketing initiatives and other things. And I can use these to purchase. So for the different processes, if we're looking at both a sales funnel and managing your whole distributor network, or even if you are internal, looking at the managers in-house and so on, we've got features to help them do the job that they need to do 80% of the time. And for that reason, we can make it easy when we have this focus. Now, if I wanted to create content, and I'll jump right into this right now, then I would be able to go and use the course builder that we have inside. Now, if you can see down here, then we've got a set of different archives. So these are the interactive pieces. That means that we are working with content asset management. This is, all these interactive elements that have been created. There could be many different types. So for example, these are some of the types that we have here, and we've created some of our own. Now these get auto-tagged by where I use it. That means if I have a course ID or something, show me everything that has been created and used in this course. Then I will be able to filter that out and just get that from my archives here. So I can find anything that I did in English belonging to this course at any point in time. Similar, we have the videos where you have streaming videos that have been uploaded. And so I would be able to go in, for example, also and make some properties on these. So I can upload and replace these videos, add thumbnails to them, add slides to them, add subtitles to them manually, and they will be automatically tagged too. But if I want to add some manual keywords to them, I can do it too. Yeah. Now, once I have some of these assets available, then I might want to use them in some of the courses that I'm building. And from our perspective, it doesn't matter if you created it in an external tool or within. We just offer more abilities if you have, if you're using the integrated tool, because we have more control over all the assets. For example, you update an asset, it's instantly updated everywhere that this one has been used in all the variants of courses and offerings that you have. This is important, and this is something that is, makes all the difference in your maintenance when you have a new product that you need to get out there, and it needs to be there 10 minutes ago. Yeah, and then you update a piece or an asset, and then it's everywhere, across the world. Now, if I wanted to create something in here, I'll just click create, and this would be my new training. So you basically get a mind map concept where you can create topics like these, right? And you can change the order. You can add subtopics to these as well. And you can work with that. Yes, you can go in and create restrictions even between pages on various items and dates and variables to support various flows. But you don't need to concern yourself with all of this until you actually need this. So right now, it's super easy for me to do. I'll just say save. I have a course. It picks up a course template that you can edit. And then I have my little course here, perhaps a course and an instruction about how to create a course. Now I already have my whole navigation set up, and I can at any time look at this as a participant. And what you see is that it looks exactly the same, except that I get my menu. That's because it's responsive, it's adaptive. It will adapt to mobile phones, tablets, and so on automatically. Even our mobile app, works off this. And we have something unique here too. If you had created something in an external tool, like a SCORM file or similar, then you would be able to import this file and use it as an asset on a page, together with whatever else that we're offering in here of tools. But when I want to edit a page such as this, then I will simply click my edit page function. And what you will notice when I do this is that it basically just gives me a super easy columns-based editing system. You'll see my content starts to move around when I click on these. Yeah. So if I go back to the original one, then I can also hover them. And let's imagine that I actually wanted to do what I just did here, like insert a video. I can click on the plus icon, and then all my assets plus other types of content that we have learned over the years that people need. So then I would be able to insert, for example, something like a video. Let me just insert this one. So I can insert the video, position it, drag it somewhere else. I would be able to go in and say, hey, I've got another asset here. So this is my interactions. These are more than 40 different types of options that I have. So let's take the talented learning multiple choice option, and then I'll be able to put this in and drag it somewhere, and it will adapt and stay. When I'm done, I will click save. You can see these assets, except for, of course, text assets that I might, edit on the spot. Then, they refer to the original source. And already right now, the system will know that this asset had been used in this course, and I will be able to find it, through my settings and taggings and everything else that would be there automatically. Another thing that we do in here is that we have version history auditing, something that bigger corporations want. So this one was just created, and I haven't got a lot of variants of it, but I can go into my revisions, and I can see that this one was done, 2 minutes ago, return to previous versions of my content that I've created inside. And I will also be able to send this for review. If I have a subject matter expert or even somebody external to the system who needs to comment on the pages and the content or comment inside the videos, 2 minutes and 12 seconds inside, they will be able to say that I said something wrong in here. And the whole options that we have in here is also that that we have the version history. So if I had a particular point in time and I want to say this is where you need to start distributing it to everybody from 2016 because this was the big change, then you can make that choice. This version history follows the everything else that you do in course administration and everything else, reports, so that you will be able to see these details specifically. Now, if I have created my courses in here, then you can see that I've got something called my new training. It's right there. Yeah. The reason that it appears here is because I have, focus on a few of these that I'm working on. So it's right there. And obviously, I would be able to clone this one. So I can create templates not just courses, but templates that I can use for different product lines and so on easily. That doesn't just have a single page, but has a multitude of pages that I want to do. This is something that bigger corporations, they enjoy, because it allows them that flexibility that is never built into a page editor of any kind. And also, you would be able to translate these. Now, in order to show you this was what Anders talked about before. You see my course list, so I will jump right over into an easy way of showing you this. So I will be able to take a course, and I want to translate this course. So I want this one in a different language. That means that editor that you saw before, I create anything I want. But that editor in there will now translate this one to a different language. Create new versions, add subtitles to the video. It will create new versions of the quiz element that I have set in there. So there will be a French version of this too. And here is then the kicker. Now that works, of course. But if I'm a medical company that really needs to make sure that my product names stay the same, they don't get translated, my specific wording or my translation models that I have been using for years with the translation agencies, then I will be able to use this to train the AI in language pairs so that the output becomes better. And that output I can use across anything else. I would be able to go into that interactions archive that I showed you just a minute ago, and I would be able to go in and translate specifically this quiz object that we support, the translation of, and then I would also be able to manually go and do this as well. And when I do that, what do you want to translate it to? Well, this language that has been activated on my platform, but in fact, I want to use this particular because this is something about some veterinarian stuff. So let me use this model, which translates better. So we have tested this with clients before we engaged into that development to make sure that the results were worth the effort, because this is not free. You train the models, and you train them and you own them yourself too. Yeah. Okay. So coming back to the system, I would just like to show you, one or two more things, but just basically, we have a lot of options in here, which also is concerned to, how do we manage, requirements across a multitude of different organizations, departments, and so on. So we have onboarding rules. And the term of onboarding rule is perhaps not new, but this would be my new rule. Okay. Now I'm going to say, what do I, okay, so I want everybody who speaks English and from the organization of, and then I'll pick the talented learning. So if this combination, yeah, or, and, exclude, yeah, and I will say, except if they're from Afghanistan, then they will get these trainings. Yeah. So, I can have rules that I can set up for my entire distributor network or for any kind of complex organization. Or if I'm an NGO with, delivery mechanisms that has to cross the world with, different options and trainings that need to be localized to Kenya, to Germany, to, different scenarios, then I can set these automation rules up. And the beauty of all of this is that they work across everything. That means people come in through a sign up themselves, self-registration, admins who are, creating a new user or a bunch of users, import sheets, SSO mechanisms, anything that comes through other systems and so on. They all buy, they have to go buy these. And when do they kick in? Upon changes. Yeah. So whenever something changes, I get access to new stuff. There will be more here on when we are talking adaptive learning. specifically in here about asking questions when people are onboarding the platform, giving them access to different things depending on their answers, having NPS questions that are transactional, and by, for example, every half year, so on org level, or they could be on training level, and this sort of thing too. So these are all onboarding rules. Now I could probably, keep going here for, another hour, but I think that this is what I wanted to show you, and end up here with the course administration, just an overview. What can I do? So yes, I can create automated email workflows that allow you to, set up rules. Brief overview, very fast. I'll go into one here. These are all, just data that we have created. Yeah, I'll edit it. So here we have a scenario where I could say who to notify. This has a lot of complexity built into it. So even what you saw here, these are the different scenarios that you can imagine. People who did not finish the training. Managers need to get informed when this happens and so on. Now, all of this ends up in a type of template that you can connect to multiple different trainings. So if you have something for all my self-paced, okay, that's cool. But this particular thing, it needs to get its own email flow and support and engagement. Then I create that and connect it to the trainings. The trainings that I will look at inside my course administration, where I will have an overview of all my modules, my onboarding rules, whether or not something is self-paced, and I can create as many as I like. So you can see down here, I've got general facilities, settings, self-enrollment, access restrictions, when do I lose access to something, and so on activity level. But I will be able to add as many courses, online events, or entire learning paths that have been created that are connected within each other with an infinite number of combinations, so that I could choose repeating dates, choose your own track A, B, C, build that within your learning path as it is. So if you have an event that happens, first 3 hours is in plenum, 1 o'clock, you have to choose track A or track B or track C, and then you will be able to enroll yourself within the learning, path to different trainings and register people like this. That's what it means. So I think that's it for now. Are we out of time, John?
We're out of time. That was a good deep one. That's a good deep one. Thanks so much for the demonstration to go through that. It's obvious that the system is purpose built to support the scenarios of external learning and really automate, a lot of the issues that organizations have. And so what really stands out is how you're addressing it all the way from single sign-on to the sharing of content to versioning to GDPR restrictions, focusing on the on-premise. It's like all the different scenarios that organizations are going to run into. It's like you're just trying to help with this use case to remove all the barriers and make the system more useful to achieve business outcomes. So it's obvious that you're succeeding in that, and your innovation and your roadmap, continuing to go down those areas that are really being driven by customer demand. And as experts, in this customer education space, and as an analyst in this, customer education space, it's not figured out yet. This whole space, it's every day, it's evolving, it's innovating. There's no script that you have to follow, and so creating your own script and driving that in the marketplace is a good strategy. I'm sure very good for your clients. So thanks for taking the time to come here today. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Anders is on vacation. This is so important. He's coming off of vacation here to work today, so we're going to let him get back to all that fun. You can see all the sunshine in your face, so get back to having a good time. Nick, you got to hold down the ship here and do all the work while Anders is out. So thanks for that. looking forward to having everybody here when you listen to this. Check out the talentlearning.com/podcast. We've got Nick coming on to the podcast here this week. Be publishing in a few weeks, and we'll get to dig deep into some good customer education discussion on top of that. And you can find more of Eurekos's content at eurekos.com. and be able to check out a lot more of this. I encourage you to reach out, contact him, get your own demonstration. I know from experience that we didn't see enough of this application yet, as I've spent a lot more time with these kind of folks here, getting deep into customer education and the capabilities. So if you're in that space, I encourage you to reach out and learn more from these folks, as they're a really good option. So Anders, Nick, thank you very much. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Likewise.
Nice. Listeners, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Talent to Learning Executive Briefing Demonstration Series. Now you see why this is my favorite series of content, because you just can't get this level of detail and expertise anywhere else. So thanks for tuning in. Everybody have a great day.